Two cousins. Same city. Same job. Same paycheck, $65,000 a year. Fast forward 25 years. Cousin A has $1 million in investments, a paid-off house in Atlanta, and passive income rolling in every month. Cousin B has a solid savings account, a responsible budget, and somehow never really got ahead. Same income. Same starting point. Same advice. Save your money. So what actually went wrong? It wasn't discipline. It wasn't intelligence. It was one psychological switch, and most people never even know it exists. Let's get one thing straight. A saver and a wealth builder are not the same thing. People use those words like they're interchangeable. They are not. A saver is in the business of protecting money. They check the account balance. They feel good when it goes up. They feel sick when it goes down. Their mental image of wealth? A big pile of cash they're guarding like a junkyard dog. A wealth builder is in the business of deploying money. They check returns. They think in systems. Their mental image of wealth? A machine, assets working overtime so they don't have to. Here's the wild part. Both groups save money. They're doing the same action, but operating on completely different software. So what's actually happening in your head? Researchers have identified two financial brain modes, and yes, these are real, documented psychological states. Mode 1, protection mode. This is your brain's default when it feels financially threatened. In this state, money equals survival. Your nervous system treats a dollar leaving your account the same way it treats physical danger. You know index funds return 8 to 10% annually on average. You agree with me completely right now. And then you don't invest, because your body won't let you. That's not weakness. That's neuroscience. Mode 2, expansion mode. This kicks in when your brain perceives financial stability. Money is now a tool, not a shield. Sending it into investments doesn't feel like losing it, it feels like building something. The same dollar that scared you in mode 1? In mode 2 it's exciting to deploy. Here's the thing that will change how you see money forever. This switch is not flipped by a decision. It's triggered by a ratio. Specifically, the ratio of your liquid savings to your monthly expenses. When your savings covers roughly 3 to 6 months of expenses, most people's brains begin transitioning from protection to expansion mode. That's the threshold. Below it, you can read every investing book ever written and your nervous system will quietly pull you back to cash. But here's what's crazy, the threshold isn't a dollar amount. Someone with $80,000 in savings might still be stuck in protection mode, because their bills are $15,000 a month. Meanwhile, someone with $25,000 is aggressively building wealth, because their expenses are $4,000 a month and they cleared the threshold months ago. Here's where the two paths diverge, and where Cousin B started losing quietly. Once a saver crosses the threshold, they don't automatically switch modes. They just keep saving. More cash. Maybe a CD. Maybe a high-yield savings account. They feel responsible. They look responsible. But here's what's actually happening. Cash sitting in a savings account, even a high-yield one at 4 to 5%, is losing purchasing power after inflation and taxes. Playing it too safe is not safe. It's a slow, guaranteed loss wearing a responsible costume. Wealth builders do something different at the threshold. They split their money into two buckets, on purpose. Bucket 1, the security bucket. Sacred. 3 to 6 months of expenses. Liquid. Do not touch. Bucket 2, the deployment bucket. Everything else goes here: index funds, real estate, business investment. Whatever the strategy. The difference is intentionality. Wealth builders make a conscious decision. Savers let inertia make it for them. And 25 years later, the gap isn't 10% different. It's 400% different. Because deployed capital compounds. Preserved capital doesn't. Let's make this real. Numbers don't lie. You and your neighbor both earn $70,000 a year. You both save $1,000 a month. You both hit your security threshold, $30,000, 2 years ago. Your neighbor immediately starts routing the $1,000 into a Roth IRA and brokerage account. 3-fund index portfolio. Average return, 8.5% annually. They do this for 25 years. You keep adding to savings. High-yield account at 4.5%. You feel responsible. You do this for 25 years. After 25 years, your neighbor has $1,045,000 in investments plus their security bucket intact. You have $487,000 in savings. Impressive on paper. But after inflation, that's about $280,000 in today's dollars. And zero income-producing assets. Same income. Same savings rate. Same starting point. One of you was building wealth. The other was preserving it. This isn't a hypothetical. This is one of the most documented wealth patterns in American personal finance research. The gap between the middle class and the wealthy isn't primarily income. It's this decision, deploy or preserve, after crossing the threshold. Okay, so how do you actually make the switch? Because knowing and doing are two totally different problems. Step 1. Define your threshold, precisely. Not vaguely. Precisely. Add up your monthly non-negotiables. Rent or mortgage, food, utilities, car, insurance, minimum debt payments. Multiply by 5. That's your security number. Write it down. Put it somewhere you'll see it. Every dollar above that number is not savings. It is undeployed capital. Step 2. Build the architecture. The moment your savings account hits that number, open a separate brokerage account. Set a recurring automatic transfer of whatever you were adding to savings. Route it to your investments instead. This is the hardest part psychologically. Your brain will hate watching the brokerage account fluctuate while the savings account used to just sit there looking stable. That discomfort is normal. You don't fix it. You build around it with automation. Step 3. Don't look at it money. This is real advice from behavioral economists, not just something I made up. The most dangerous thing you can do to young investments is check them constantly. Every 3% dip triggers a threat signal. Enough threat signals and you make an emotional decision. Sell at the bottom, pull everything out, and permanently damage your returns. Set your investments to auto-invest. Use a password you won't memorize. Check once a quarter. Seriously. Step 4. Change the identity. This is the one most people skip. And it might be the most important. If you identify as someone who saves, your brain will find unconscious reasons to keep saving, even when it's hurting you. If you identify as an investor, you find ways to invest even when money is tight, because it's who you are. This isn't motivational fluff. Behavioral psychologists have shown identity-based behaviors are significantly stickier than goal-based ones. So how do you change the identity? You cast votes. Every time you make an investment contribution, even $50, you're voting, I am the kind of person who deploys capital. Enough votes over enough months and the identity sticks. Here's the mindset flip that brings this all home. For a saver, security means cash in the account. Visible. Liquid. So, for a wealth builder, security means income-generating assets. Yes, they fluctuate. But at scale, they produce income that compounds, and eventually dwarfs what any savings account ever could. The S&P 500 has returned an average of 10.5% annually over the last 100 years. Through every crash, every recession, every crisis. A savings account? 1 to 5% depending on the rate environment. On a $50,000 deposit over 30 years, the difference is $900,000 versus $87,000. Security isn't a stack of cash. Security is a diversified portfolio of assets that outpace inflation over time. Once you see that, protection mode and expansion mode aren't opposites anymore. They're the same goal, expressed with different tools. Here's the honest truth about where most people are right now. Most of you watching this have already crossed the security threshold. You just never recognized it as a transition point. You crossed it quietly, kept saving the same way, and are now sitting on undeployed capital that is losing real value every single year. You don't need more discipline. You don't need a stricter budget. You need to recognize that you've been playing defense long after the game switched to offense. The threshold between saving and wealth building isn't a mountain you still have to climb. It's a door you may have already walked through. The question is whether you've turned around to see what's on the other side. Drop a comment. Are you a saver or a wealth builder right now? I read every one. And if this gave you a new way to see your money, share it with someone who needs to hear it. See you in the next one.